Yo, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe and comment down below if you got any questions or criticisms about the video. Hello again, YouTube. It's been a hot second. I see you've been enjoying this Skynet series of casts. So I come at you with, of course, another one. We have now seen all three races that AlphaStar has to offer, but the human in this situation, sponsored to the bottom left, is the Red Terran player, YoungDeeDan. Looking to fight off against the robot that he doesn't know is a robot. Some think he's a soulless machine. I think he's got a big heart drive and is ready to fight. To the top right, it's AlphaStar. Now, real quick, now that we're finally seeing the Protoss version of AlphaStar, I thought you guys might like to know some of the facts about this one. This has also played 60 games on the ladder, very similar to the Terran version, and has won 53 out of its 60 games. That is an incredibly high win percentage again. So, some of you have been asking in the last few videos, how do we know this is AlphaStar? What's the confirmation? And while there are some outside sources to do it, there's actually one really big in-game thing I can show you guys to explain this a little bit better. First and foremost, you have to understand AlphaStar doesn't have like a mouse classically, and it can't click and drag things. So when its army's moving around the map, there's actually no indicator where it's going. There's no little right-click little circle to show where it's been sent to. But additionally, while I don't like having them on because of stylistic reasons, you can see I've enabled hotkeys, and you can see our Terran player, YoungDeeDan, has hotkeyed his command center to 5 and his barracks to 4. On the other side of the map, if we were to check out our Protoss player's hotkeys, there are none. Because again, AlphaStar does not have the capability to select units the same way people conventionally do. So just a little bit of examples of some of the many ways people have been able to decipher which of these games belong to AlphaStar or not. And once, of course, you know where the profile is, you can look up their match history and their other games. Now, with our Zerg, oops, pardon me, that was a ping on my part. With our Zerg AlphaStar, we saw that it fell apart pretty badly to cheese. Our Terran version of AlphaStar in the previous cast actually had some really solid macro, but still really good micro in all these games, even with the ones that are being lost. So far, I guess, in our overall series of AlphaStar matches, we are 1-1, 1 win, 1 loss, and this will technically be the third game, so an inadvertent best of 3 against the humans. Now with his third race unleashed in this TvP. For those who don't know as well, AlphaStar plays at about a Masters level, so we have players like YoungDeeDan here, who is not some random silver player or anything like that. Like, this is a Masters League Terran in Europe who's going to put up a pretty good fight, I would imagine. But you know what's worse than robots invading our ladder? Robots taking your calls and call centers. But you know who doesn't do any of those shenanigans? Ting. That's right, guys. It's a little bit of a sponsor read real quick. If you don't know what Ting is, it's a US mobile phone service. I'll keep it brief, I'll keep it simple, but they sponsor these videos and now our Twitch channel to make us enabled to do more Starcraft content, to do things like this. If you guys noticed, there's been a lot of daily uploads of these games, and there will continue to be so, thanks to folks like Ting. So, real quick, Ting does not use contracts whatsoever. So if you want to try Ting for a month, that's it. You can just do it for a month and walk away. You'll also get $25 in credit if you go to bttv.ting.com and sign up over there. We've been working with them for about 3 years on and off doing tournaments. They sponsor Neeb, they sponsor Nathanius, and a lot of other really fantastic content creators who are even outside the Starcraft scene. I don't know if anyone else out there also loves watching Philip DeFranco every day, but I know I do. Anyways, Ting's a really great company, and they're definitely able to save you money, but not everybody. So check them out once again, bttv.ting.com. They'll let you know whether they're right for you or not. This adept micro was actually surprisingly good at first, and then became questionable towards the end there, losing a little bit much for not much at all. A distraction nonetheless, though, as the Oracle hits the main base. That Widowmine's not in position for our Terran, and SCVs are starting to die. Now, of course, it takes 3 shots to kill an SCV, so this isn't exactly the quickest slaughtering of workers you've ever seen, but this shouldn't really have gotten much of anything, especially with Widowmines coming out, whether it's hiding one in the mineral line or protecting one on the cliff. Either way, this Oracle looks like it might just get out alive, although hold on, the Vikings on it now. And of course, Vikings do some nice bonus damage to Oracles. For those who aren't keeping up and up in the Starcraft scene, Oracles are armored units now. They're no longer classified as light. The reason this is an important detail is because Vikings actually get their bonus damage versus them now, whereas they did not before. It's a Phoenix follow-up out of AlphaStar, which I don't think is too strange in the grand scheme of things, but we also see it playing defensively, and that's where I think it's a little weird. So the investment here for the Phoenix, obviously there's going to be some crowd control, there's going to be some map control, you're going to dance around and do as you please. But then you're putting like 300 minerals and shield batteries? You'll hold this push. There's no question about it, but it also means that's 300 minerals you're not going to have in additional stalkers to counterattack with, or another Oracle, or a Robo, etc. So I don't dislike this move out of AlphaStar by any means, but it is just showing where that investment priority goes. He picks up a Viking in the main base because a landed Viking can two-shot probes, but in doing so is a little distracted, and the Marines hit the mineral lines. There's actually almost enough damage here to precisely one-shot down the probes, so the shield batteries are almost negated through this attack. However, as the Marines start getting picked off, the probe count starts going down a lot slower. 7 to 8 work per skill, though. This was some nice trade and some pretty good feedback, or payback, excuse me, for the attack taken here in the main. Oh, a little awkward. We've all been there as a Terran player. Don't worry, YoungDeeDan. There. Hopefully we'll put that SCV back to work soon. Third command center is finished up. No bunker, though, is a little bit worrisome because there is a counterattack of sorts coming. And I think the worst part about this for YoungDeeDan is things like this Raven or these Marines are all pretty susceptible to Phoenix. If you sit inside a bunker, obviously not a problem. Being a little bit cautious and a little bit wary, trying not to get hit by that Widow Mine, picks up the SCV building the engineering bay. That's going to be a huge delay to getting missile turrets out. And while there's a Viking, it's not that great to dogfight against this many Phoenix with. He gets a lock onto the Phoenix, almost kills one, but just doesn't quite. Auto turret to the mineral line as well for this Raven, and of course some Widow Mines to cover, but all of this would have been so much simpler with a missile turret or a bunker. Meanwhile, AlphaStar takes the third base back on its side of the field, and it's so weird trying not to use the he pronoun for this because, of course, 99% of the time I'm casting pro gamers, I'm usually using adjectives like he, but AlphaStar, I guess, you know what? This is the comment bait on this one. If AlphaStar, in your mind out there, do you envision AlphaStar, if it was a person, if it had a gender, what would it be? I know that this could spark some debate, but I'm asking purely from the fact that we have this factory Chan meme, obviously, that started up. You guys have assigned a factory, like a Terran factory, to be this like robotic-ish human cat girl. I'm just curious if you guys do the same thing with AlphaStar, or if you just think of it as nothing at all. Personally, my take on it is it's just a robot. I can't really envision it. I mean, I couldn't envision Factory Chan either. You guys did that one. At any rate, we have 3 factories down. It's being meched behind this, and I gotta wonder if AlphaStar really knows much about playing against mech. It definitely knows playing bio, because probably most of the games against Terran involve specifically fighting bio. Mech is not really that popular versus Protoss, so YoungDeeDan might just be able to catch it off guard here. Lock-on's looking pretty good. Doesn't quite kill the Phoenix, though. But what I mean by this is we saw abnormal play from Raynor when he was off-racing his Terran really disrupt the way AlphaStar was playing because it didn't know how to handle the stranger playstyle of proxy racks and Widowmine follow-up. In this case, because it's mech, less common, we already see it building things like Colossus, and Phoenix are an okay answer to having Cyclones on the field anyways, but the Colossus aren't really that great of a choice. You lock on that Colossus, it's going to fall over, and there's no way for it to run away. It's so large and clumsy and awkward. But with some Warp Prism Micro, maybe it won't be such a problem. By the way, the Phoenix are grabbing some of these SCVs. A lot of these SCVs. Grabbing those mules really hurts. Grabs the Cyclone coming out of that reinforcement point, but YoungDeeDan's not turning back. Luckily for him, there's not much reinforcements. An army supply back at home. A lot of it's across the field, but he hits at a timing before Magfield Accelerator is done. So he does still kill the Colossus, but he doesn't have that bonus damage to work with. Marines trying to fight the south side. This one Zealot going to town. Phoenix come back for that liftoff, saving these 2 Zealots. And it looks like this is the end of the attack for YoungDeeDan. I think what I fear most for our Terran in this situation is he's unaware of the macro game that AlphaStar is playing behind this. And let's be real for a second. AlphaStar is nailing it. 76 probes, 4 bases. Whereas YoungDeeDan's just barely established on 3. And playing mech like this, it's really tough to come back from playing behind. He's going to have to camp around missile turrets. If the Cyclones get caught out in the open, they're absolutely going to die to these Phoenix. There's more factories, more production, but this is rough because while he's, of course, chasing these Phoenix around in the main base, we have a real push coming outside the front. It's a small push, but when there's nothing to push back against it, that's a pretty big deal. Lock-ons are also on cooldown now as they've burned on the Phoenix, but it's only like a 5 or 8 second cooldown. It's not that big of a deal. 4 seconds, excuse me. Just feels like 8 when you're playing Terran, am I right, brothers? But this is looking pretty grim for our Terran. 33 army supply, no upgrades, no fallback. Maybe the Widowmines get a great shot. Not likely, though. The SCVs get pulled into the battle on AlphaStar. This is looking to take this game and be the alpha dog. As we had mentioned before, it was 1-1 in the overall score versus the latter of games we've been casting. But this looks like, yeah, AlphaStar takes it 2-1. Is this going to be your champion once again. If you guys like this Skynet series I've been doing, make sure to hit that like button at the very least, comment on the video if you've got any comments, and of course subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.